In your consultancy with Xplore for Success, you come into contact, you work with lots of organisations and lots of leaders. Do you believe enough corporates are thinking and talking about inclusive leadership at a mature level yet?
I could get out of this with a no, couldn't I?
You absolutely could, and then I'd say we'd love to understand why that is.
I think some organisations have passionately approached these problems, and they're not simple problems. And certainly some of the organisations that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, down here Australia Post, in Sydney, CBA, Lend-Lease, and of course NAB, are doing so many different things to address the problem and make their organisation more inclusive. Part of it is about women and giving them skills and confidence. Part of it is about addressing non-Europeans and whether they feel like they belong. But in order for organisations to be considered inclusive, there's a lot of work to do, because we still have, what was it, 10% of the ASX 200 have no women on boards. We still have a very small percentage of women in ASX 200 on senior management teams. It's very, very low. And one of the things, at least now we're counting, not only are we counting, we're publishing the scores. So one of the exciting things is WGEA comes out with the scores, and they've recently come out with these percentages up to date. AICD has now got, the Institute of Company Directors has now got the 30% club, where they're counting boards that are now up to 30%. Now, the first time they put out this report, they just listed the good guys. This time, they listed the ASX 200 in order of the good guys, which were neatly highlighted, right down to the people, the last 20 companies who had no women on the boards. So this is good, because life is a bit about carrot and stick, and we'd like it to happen, but it's surprising how much change there was when ASX required that board members would be announced and you could see what it was. However, there are so few metrics on the other big component of non-European diversity metrics. There's so little on that. And I did some work, and I admit I did the work going back to the top 20 ASX companies, and it was a visibility check. Did they look different to a Caucasian? And what I got was less than 5% of our board members were showing up as being non-Caucasian, or non-European, I guess would be closer, because some of the other European countries with a visibility check, you really don't get that. But there really aren't many statistics out there. And the change we've seen since ASX did that and AICD started publishing these, there's been, this year, over 40% of the board positions that have come vacant have gone to women. Now, this will make a change, but until the spotlight's on it, very little happens. So I get very excited when I see organisations where it runs from the top through in terms of key objectives all the way down. And then sometimes I meet people and they say, you know, it's a fabulous place to work. And I was talking to David before, and I won't mention the name, but a very good friend of mine, her young son has just been diagnosed with leukemia. And she's got a cow of her life coming up over the next 8 months. And when she contacted work, they said, don't worry, just take whatever time you need, come back when you're ready. There wasn't a discussion about whether she had carer's leave or whether she had sick days or whether they were going to dock her pay. It was like, of course, you're a whole person. That is what you need to do right now. And to me, this whole thing of inclusion, and I'll talk a little bit about catalyst.org later, but they talk about inclusion being made up of uniqueness and belongingness. And that uniqueness is about the skills we bring individually that add to the conversations and add to the team or the whole organisation's success. And then the belongingness, and you know, Apple used to talk technically about standout fit in, but fit in leaves you to think, what have you done to fit in? And let me assure you, for at least 15 years of my time at Apple, I did a lot to fit in. Belongingness is where you just turn up on the day and you know you're in the right place. And the people you're working with are pleased to see you and they say good morning and there's not a whole undercurrent of other things going on. So if we can get this belongingness and if we can get people really valued for the skills that they bring that make them unique, their strengths, what they can bring to a discussion, and they're heard, then we will start to really see a change in inclusion. But there are some fabulous Australian companies working extremely hard, and culture change is hard. But gee, there's a lot more work to go, because quite seriously, I believe Australia is behind the US, Canada, the UK, South Africa, and the New Zealand. Don't forget
we're
the
behind
ditch.
a ditch. Yep. I know, so we're not looking good on that front, are we? But there
We're really
are
not
some
looking
good
good.
examples out there, but
There are
some
some
work
great
to be done.
examples.